Throughout the history of Plants vs. Zombies 2, there's been countless different remove features, and in this video, I'm going to be showing you 15 of them, starting off with the Power Pinch. The Power Pinch was one of the 3 original power-ups within the game, and what this power-up did is that every single time you would pinch a zombie on the screen, it would kill them. And while it might seem like an alright power-up from the footage that you're seeing, though in reality, it just wasn't that good in actual gameplay. As well, compared to the other 2 power-ups, it just wasn't that good, and only a few months after the game first got released, it was replaced. And while it was replaced by the snow and the fire power-up, and overall, I think that was a much better decision as well the Power Pinch wasn't as good. Next, we have the old maps. The old maps were only in 3 different worlds, being Ancient Egypt, Pirate Seas, and Wild West. All 3 of these old maps had a lot more detail than the new ones, as well the new ones just look a lot more bland, while these ones had a lot more things to do. As well, instead of just going in order of levels, you could actually unlock different paths, and it was sort of a choose your own path type of thing. So overall, you could just sort of tell by looking at them that the old maps had a lot more thought and a lot more care put into them, as well they're much better looking. And while the next remove feature actually goes with the old maps, as well we had the star system. Now the star system worked in a way where every single time you beat a level, you could either get 1, 2, or 3 stars. The only way that you could get 3 stars on a level is that if you rebeat a level, as well the first time you beat a level you only get 1 star, but after you rebeat it, the level will be slightly harder and you'll be able to get the last 2 stars. And well, interestingly, the Chinese version of Plants vs. Zombies 2 actually kept this system to this day. Though for whatever reason, the international release of the game, only a few months after the game first came out, completely got rid of the star system. Which is sort of a shame, as well I think that the star system is overall a pretty interesting idea. Now the next remove feature was actually a really useful one, as well it actually saved you real money. As well, one of the biggest critiques about Plants vs. Zombies 2 is the insane amount of microtransactions that are in the game. The first of these microtransactions at the beginning of the game were the brand new premium plans, so there was actually a way to get them for free. As well, for the first few months of the game, you could actually get a couple of these premium plans for completely free just by inviting people on Facebook. As well, all you have to do is use a link to invite people, and if people use your link, you would be able to unlock these different rewards. And well, if you did this 5 times, you could unlock the Power Lily, the Snow Pea, a trophy, and 40,000 coins all for free. So this was just a really useful feature that was only around for a couple of months, and the next remove feature was actually the diamond. Now, I'm actually not talking about the gems, as well in the beginning of the game there was no gems, but instead they had diamonds. And well, since in the first few updates of Plants vs. Zombies 2, their only currency was coins, every time you collected a diamond you would get 10,000 coins. Though once again, after a few months of the game being released, I guess the developers decided it would be a lot better just to add a different currency instead of having diamonds. As well, the diamonds were very uncommon, and there was a very high chance that you could play all 3 worlds in the game at this time and not get a single diamond. So because of that, they ended up replacing it with the gems, which was definitely the best decision, and the next remove feature were the keys. Now obviously, the keys are still in the game today, and you could unlock different worlds using them, though right at the beginning of the game, there was actually a much different use for them. As well, if you look at the top of the screen here, there is actually a different section for keys, as well you could actually get a lot more keys in this game that you can now. As well, you could get up to 50 different keys just by playing the game, and what these keys did is that they helped you unlock different areas on the old world maps. As well, on the old world maps, there was many different options of which paths you could go down, and you could unlock these paths by using the keys. Though after the Gargantuar update, they ended up making it so that every time you beat a Gargantuar level, you would get a different key to unlock the next world. And while these levels were pretty interesting, as well on the outside of them, they had really cool designs, and the actual levels themselves were pretty good. Though they did have a few flaws about them, as well you could literally just beat the Ancient Egypt one over and over again to get all the worlds unlocked instantly. As well, for many years, you can literally just beat the Ancient Egypt Gargantuar fight and immediately go to modern day, which was sort of broken. Now next we have the old trophies. Now these trophies were actually able to be bought using real money, just like the premium plans. And there was actually a few different bundles where you could buy a trophy and a premium plan at the exact same time for a lower price. And what these trophies did is that they gave you some advantages within the game to make the game slightly easier. As well, at the beginning of the level, you could get extra sun, you could get an extra seed slot, and a few other things. Though after a few years, they actually removed these trophies, meaning that if you bought these trophies back in the day, you still have the benefits. Meaning that there's actually a few exclusive benefits that only old players could have got, as well if you didn't buy the trophies, you can no longer get them. Now next we have the skippable tutorial. Now at the beginning of the game, you were actually able to skip the tutorial. And while at the time this made complete sense, as well since it was Plants vs Zombies 2, anyone that played the first Plants vs Zombies game already knew how the game worked. So because of that, they made the tutorial completely skippable, so you didn't have to waste your time playing it if you already knew how the game worked. Though for whatever reason, PopCap decided to remove this feature a few years after the game got released, which makes no sense. Now next we have the level expansions. Now there was actually a few different worlds, including Ancient Egypt, Pirate Seas, Wild West, and Jurassic Mars that had a few new levels. As well, after the Zomboss fight, they added a few new levels that had some brand new features, including some new zombies. And while this is a really good feature that basically everyone liked, as well there was no new worlds for a while, and adding these new levels made it sort of seem like a brand new world was sort of added on to the old ones. So because of that, it was a really good feature that everyone liked, though for whatever reason, a few years after it was first added, PopCap removed it. Which once again, just like the last feature, makes no sense to get rid of, especially this one even more, as well people actually really like this update. Though for whatever reason, PopCap decided to get rid of these levels, which is just another really bad decision which literally benefits nobody. Now the next removed feature was actually two plants that were supposed to be added into the game from Plants vs Zombies 2 China. As all we have the Icy Current and the Tactical Cube, which are both originally from Plants vs Zombies 2 China, though they were also supposed to be added into the international game seen through the game's files. Though for whatever reason, they never added the Icy Current, and it makes sense why they didn't add the Tactical Cube, as well as way too overpowered. As well, the Tactical Cube literally blows up the entire map, so not adding that one makes sense, though the Icy Current literally makes no sense, as well as just a normal plant. So yeah, sadly, the Icy Current was never added into the game, though if you want to play it, it's still very easily obtainable in the Chinese version of the game. Now next we have the Treasure Yetis, as well in the very early versions of the game, you could actually scroll the worlds and see above the level a Treasure Yeti. And after you saw the Yeti hovering above this level, you could click on the level, and then in the level, the Yeti would appear around halfway through the level, and if you killed it, you would get a lunchbox. And these lunchboxes usually had rewards like coins and gems, so it was overall a pretty good feature that a lot of people liked. Though they were pretty uncommon, and after a little while, for some reason, PopCap decided to get rid of them, which didn't really change a lot. As well, the Yetis were pretty uncommon themselves, and you wouldn't really see them too often, so getting rid of them didn't really change a lot, though it's just another feature that doesn't really make sense to get rid of. Now the next removed feature is actually a pretty interesting one, as you know, the original arena game mode was called the Battles game mode. And while both game modes are the exact same, though for a little while, PopCap actually had to remove the Battles game mode and they ended up replacing it with the Arena game mode because of a lawsuit. As well, using the name Battles ended up getting them sued by this Battles card game. And while this is just a really small game that for some reason saw that PopCap used the name Battles as well, and they decided to sue them. Though this lawsuit didn't really make a lot of sense, as well PopCap clearly didn't steal the name from them, as well the game was really obscure, having only 1,000 downloads, and the name was really generic. As well, the name Battles really isn't creative at all, so suing PopCap over this was just really dumb, though I guess behind the scenes something was settled, as well they changed it to the Arena game mode. So yeah, this was just a really strange thing that happened really quickly, and not a lot of people ever seem to talk about it. As well, a lot of people just assume that they changed the name randomly just by their own decision, though it was actually for a completely different reason. Now our next removed feature was actually the old Pharaoh zombie. As you know, the new Pharaoh zombie is obviously still in the game, though there was actually an older version of the Pharaoh zombie that was a lot more overpowered. As well, it had a lot more health and it was actually immune to being blown up by insta-plants. As well, if you place something like a cherry bomb or a jalapeno near the Pharaoh, it actually wouldn't be killed if it still had the Pharaoh's armor on it, which actually made it a lot harder to be killed. It also had a lot more health, and it was also a lot faster after the Pharaoh got out of his shell. So because of that, the Pharaoh zombie was actually one of the most difficult zombies to kill in the entirety of Ancient Egypt, though they ended up nerfing it. which is sort of a shame, as though the Pharaoh zombie actually made the world a bit more challenging, though I guess it sort of makes sense from Popcat's perspective, as though they want to make ancient Egypt really easy, and if they have a really overpowered zombie in that world, it makes the world a lot harder. Now our next remove feature is actually the bee, as well this was a plant that was supposed to be added into the game, and all the animations and everything were made for it, though right at the last minute they replaced it. As well everything about this plant was fully complete, though right at the last minute they replaced it with the bok choy. And while the bok choy had all the exact same attacks as the bee, and it literally did the exact same thing, except that they just changed the texture. So I have no idea why they replaced the bee, as well the bee was already in another game, being Plants vs. Zombies Adventures. So I have no idea why they went through with the idea of making bok choy instead of just using the character that they already fully designed. So yeah, nowadays this plant is mostly forgotten about, as well as only in Plants vs. Zombies Adventures and in Plants vs. Zombies Heroes. And most people don't know that it was actually originally supposed to be in Plants vs. Zombies 2, and for the final remove feature we have the security guards. As well, when a zombie reached the end of the lawn, there was actually an option, instead of ending the level, you could hire the security guards to come kill the zombie. And if you decide to pay the gems, the security guard would come down and instantly kill the zombie, making you not lose the level. Which was definitely a pretty interesting feature, though every single time you used it, it got more and more expensive. And while this feature was only in the game for a very short amount of time, though it actually was re-added into Penny's Pursuit many years later. Though instead of killing a zombie at the end of the lawn, it actually gave you more time within the level to kill the zombies. So yeah, technically this feature isn't completely gone, as well as still sort of in the game in a much different way though. But yeah, comment down below which remove feature you would re-add into the game, and yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, then please like and subscribe, and have a great day.